Everyone in the house was done with the dog. His size, his stubbornness, the way he positioned himself between the toddler and every door. They were 3 days from getting him away. They were completely wrong. And the neurologist's words in that hospital room are something none of them will ever forget. Reginald and Camille Fontaine had adopted Arcturus 3 months before their son Theo turned 2. A Great Pyrenees, 112 pounds, with the slow, deliberate temperament of a dog who had always known he was large and had organized his personality around not being careless about it. He was calm. He was patient. He was, in Reginald's first assessment, exactly the kind of dog you wanted near a toddler. That assessment lasted 6 weeks. In week 7, Arcturus began blocking doorways. Not all doorways. Specific ones. The front door when Theo was heading toward it, the door to the basement stairs, the door to the garage. He would position himself at the threshold and simply not move. Not growling, not aggressive, not agitated. Just present, immovable. 112 pounds of white dog that a 2-year-old could not reason with and could not get around. Theo found this maddening. He had a toddler's fury and a very specific need to be wherever he was not currently allowed to be. Camille was a family law attorney. She was precise and structured, and she did not have bandwidth for undefined dog behavior. She Googled it. The results gave her resource guarding, territorial, anxiety, and dominance posturing. None of those frameworks felt right when she watched Arcturus. His body was not tense, his eyes were not hard. He looked like a security guard who had been hired to do a specific job. But she didn't have language for that, and the language she did have said the behavior was a problem. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. By week 10, the family had agreed. Arcturus was going to a rescue placement that could give him more space. He was too much. The behavior was too much. Camille called a rescue coordinator on a Thursday. The pickup was scheduled for the following Monday. On Saturday morning, Theo woke at his usual time, came downstairs in his overalls, and headed for the kitchen. Arcturus was at the kitchen doorway. Theo stopped. He said, with complete 2-year-old seriousness, "Move, Arcturus." Arcturus did not move. He looked at the boy. He sat down. Theo turned around, frustrated, went back to the living room. He sat on the floor. After a moment, he began to look odd. Not crying, not sick, but vague in a way that wasn't tiredness. He sat with the blank, inward expression of a child whose attention had moved somewhere internal. Reginald, watching from the sofa, said to Camille, "Does he look okay to you?" She came to look. Theo had gone still in a way that was wrong. His eyes were open but not tracking. His hands were loose in his lap. He made no sound. Reginald picked him up. His body was warm and present, but his face was somewhere else. They called 911 at 9:04 a.m. In the ER, Dr. Maricela Vega, pediatric neurology, 9 years, confirmed Theo had experienced an absence seizure, possibly not the first. She asked detailed questions about behavior over the preceding weeks, moments of blankness, episodes of seeming not to hear, any history of staring episodes. Camille described 2 incidents she had attributed to toddler behavior, a moment at dinner, a moment in the car. Dr. Vega listened. She ordered an EEG. The EEG revealed a pattern consistent with childhood absence epilepsy, a condition where the brain produces brief electrical interruptions in consciousness. The seizures themselves are silent, sudden, and from the outside look like a child who has briefly gone somewhere else. Has your dog ever stopped your child from getting somewhere, and you later realize why that mattered? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. Dr. Vega asked, "What happened this morning before you called us?" Reginald described the kitchen doorway, the dog blocking Theo from entering, Theo turning around and sitting on the floor. Dr. Vega looked up from her notes. She said, "I have to be careful here because the research is still emerging, but there is documented evidence, in seizure-alert dogs specifically, and in untrained dogs living with epileptic individuals, of preictal behavior detection. In the minutes before a seizure, the brain produces changes in electrical activity that correspond to subtle shifts in body chemistry. Hormone release, microperspiration changes, possibly breath chemistry alteration. Some dogs detect this and respond. The blocking behavior, positioning between a seizing individual and a hazardous space, is the most commonly documented response in working seizure-alert animals." She paused. "Your dog was keeping him away from the kitchen, away from the hard tile floor, away from the stove, away from the stairs." Camille said nothing for a moment. She thought about the basement door, the garage door, the front porch, every threshold Arcturus had chosen. She thought about the rescue pickup scheduled for Monday. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe, so you never miss the next one. Theo's epilepsy is managed now. The absent seizures are well controlled with medication. He wears a medical ID bracelet, and his parents know the signs, and his teacher knows the signs, and his school has a response plan. Arcturus is still in the house. He no longer blocks every doorway. He never did it arbitrarily. He did it when he needed to. He still sits near Theo when Theo is quiet. He still watches in the way he always has, steady, focused, unhurried. The posture of a dog who has taken on a shift and intends to stay on it. Camille called the rescue coordinator on Sunday to cancel. She told them, "We made a mistake. He was doing the right thing the entire time. We didn't have language for what he was doing." The coordinator said, "Most families don't, until they do." The next story involves a golden retriever who changed his behavior 6 weeks before a diagnosis that changed everything, and what the oncologist said when he heard what the dog had been doing.